Quick update on the Quicksilver audio full function preamplifier restoration, or aka Pimp My Preamp Part 2.5, I guess. So a lot has passed. People keep asking, hey, what happened? Did you blow that thing up? No, we haven't blown it up yet. Just sometimes you start digging into these things and you just start uncovering more and more, and you just might as well do it right the first time, right? So here's a quick little update of where we're at. So as you saw in part 2, we've replaced the output coupling capacitors with these Mundorfs, and the output coupling capacitors for the Phono section. You can see those little guys right there, or at least one of them. There's the other one hiding back there. And what else did we do? We replaced this one electrolytic. This is I think it's a 450 volt 100 UF, and this actually comes off of the cathode of this 12AX7. So we replaced this with a nice F&T, and I just can't help but wonder if a small 0.1 polypropylene bypass might go good, since this is coming right off the cathode of this tube. But I don't know, you tell me. And then we got some Silmix for the Phono section, and we also replaced the interstage coupling capacitors with these nice tin film and foil signal path capacitors. And after digging around in this, I was really looking at this, and so we got the Solon film and foils in, and gosh, this thing is just not focusing for me. So we got the Solon film and foils in, and we stayed with the same 0.27. And those just sound incredible. So I'm really happy with how those worked out. So you can see that. And then, we started looking at the power supply. And the power supply, it used these giant, just it has so much capacitance, and it used these giant Nippon Chemcon electrolytics, and these are 30 plus years old. So I thought, they really should be replaced at this point. I mean, once we're digging into it, we might as well start and do everything. So we got into this bad boy, and looking at the power supply schematic, it was kind of interesting. It had a couple 160 UFs coming off the rectifier, and it says two 6X4s, but this actually uses a 5AR4 and a pair of diodes, I believe. So so it's supposed to be 160 UF cap coming off of here, which are really big for coming off of a 5AR4. But they're actually, but we actually replaced. So it did have 160s, but we replaced them with 150s, and I went with some Chemits. I got some caps by Chemit, which looked really nice. High ripple current. They seem to compare very favorably to these Nippicons, because these guys are really hard to find. They're really hard to find. If you can find them, they're like $50, $60 a piece. I mean, you're looking at like 1, 2, 3, 4. You're looking at almost $500 just in power supply capacitors, right? So the Chemits, were a little more, friendly in price wise, and they're a little shorter. And we played around with the capacitance just slightly, but these are plus or minus 20%, so I think we're going to be okay. As I stated, so instead of the 160s, we did a couple 150s there, and those are actually these guys coming right off the rectifier. And then here, it's supposed to have a pair of 160s as well, right here. But we did 150s there as well. And then here it's supposed to have 190s. But they're actually the same 160s, and we bumped these up to 220. So I think that will work out. I think, going a little lower would take a little bit of the stress off of that 5AR4 here coming off of the rectification. And this will give us a little more quieting, a little more ripple capacity, coming off of going onto the plates of the tubes there in the line section and the line and Phono section. So I think that will work okay. So one other thing, you guys can chime in here and tell me what you think. Here's what the caps look like. They look really nice. And the one thing is that the two capacitors, there's actually two more up here. Now these are actually our lower voltage. These were like a 15 volt 15,000 UF. These are for the filament supply. And those little guys were right in front here. And unfortunately, the ones that I got, I didn't realize that I ordered them, that they had these studs. Man, I really wish this thing would autofocus. Maybe that will help us out here, okay? So these things had the mounting studs on the end. And the ones without the mounting studs were back ordered until mid-2023. So I just did these, and I cut off the mounting studs. And just to make it look a little more cosmetically nice, I got these little red caps, which I think looks pretty cool to cover it up. And I think those mounting studs, those are just going to ground. You guys tell me, am I crazy, or is that a viable solution? But anyways, I think the red caps actually make it look kind of cool. It covers up the studs. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'll get frustrated and when those caps come in, I'll order them without the studs and just replace them. But I think the red looks kind of cool in the power supply like that. All right, so here we are looking at the bottom, and you can see here our capacitors. So these are the big 220s that we put in, and these are the 150s. And then here's our filament capacitors and the other 150s. So, man, this was a pain, I'm telling you. So it took a while to get the caps, and then I was able to do this without doing a lot of desoldering on here, which it just takes some time. So now you know why, like, it's been like 4 months, right? So it took some time to do this, and I think I'm going to replace these old poly caps too with some Solon AGMs, but we'll see as soon as I can get those in. So that's what the bottom looks like, and this electrolytic is going to be replaced with a nice Vichet. I'm going to put that in there. So it'll be completely, this whole power supply will be completely redone. So brand new capacitors all throughout. All the electrolytics will be updated. And then the old poly, not polystyrene, but the polyether, I can't remember what they're called. They're not polypropylene, but on the coupling caps, those are going to be all updated to really nice quality caps. But yeah, you let me know if I missed something in here, right? You see something grounded out, let me know before I turn this thing on. I usually like to do, these mods and then wait a day, sleep on it, come back, and then look at everything real carefully the next day just to make sure I didn't miss anything. But I think we're okay. We got everything back together, but man, that was quite a project. So now that we're back looking at the top side again, so the only thing we have left to do is we're going to remove this standby switch here, and we're going to clean that out. I just think it's a little rough, so we're going to clean that out, and then we're going to replace a couple more resistors. So we're going to actually replace all these cathode resistors. So I noticed when I was listening to it, I think one of the cathode resistors were just starting to get a little noisy. So we're going to replace those with some carbon films. We got these nice Martian resistors. I can never remember the name of these, but you know what they are. So we're going to replace all the cathode resistors with these guys. And then what else are we going to do? We're going to replace these other capacitors that come off the cathode with some nice Solon filament foils. And then there's a couple caps in the Phono section. We're going to replace those, these guys right here as well, with some matching Solon filament foils. And then we're going to replace, we're going crazy, right? I just couldn't stop myself. So remember I talked about these nice Allen Bradleys back here, these input resistors. I don't know if you can see those guys. Man, this thing does not want to focus. There we go. Those Allen Bradleys, those input resistors. And I thought, what the heck? I've so fallen in love with these AMRGs that we're going to replace those Allen Bradleys with some nice carbon films, these AMRGs. So we're going to replace a carbon comp with a carbon film, and I really like these. And we're just going to do that because we can, right? And we're going to do that. And what else? And okay, and then there's a couple more resistors. I told you I go crazy with this stuff. So in the line stage, actually in the Phono section, remember I talked about the Phono section, there was these two resistors, the 15K and the 150K. And so we got some of the pink ones. Yeah, these are, what are these? I can never remember all these names. Tacaman, little Tacaman carbon films. These are really, really nice. So we're going to replace those 150K and the 15K with these nice pink guys, right? Give it a little cotton candy flavor in there. and then we'll be done. And that will finally be it, right? So we will have completely rebuilt the power supply, recapped it, and upgraded all the interstage and output coupling capacitors, and done some resistor upgrades as well. And this thing should just be a knockout. I mean, it should really be a sonic knockout after these mods. Okay, stay tuned. That's all I got for now. And like I said, it's just taken a while, but we'll have a final part 3 and when everything's installed. Take care and happy audio.